From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And it's 5 o'clock here on your Wednesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Lauren, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez, and these are your headlines on this October the 28th. Some Noblesville residents voicing concerns about a proposal that would place a gravel pit inside a popular park. Working for you, we're taking a look at the potential impact of that project, and we'll hear from those on both sides of this issue.
Debating the issues from a potential COVID-19 vaccine to creating jobs. The candidates for governor face off for their final debate before Election Day.
And opening up shop in a food desert in Indianapolis. The new business hoping to make a difference in a neglected neighborhood.
And it is 5:01 here on your Wednesday, halfway through your work week. Thanks for joining us. Rafael, if you haven't stepped outside today, I don't think you really need to. It's not the nicest morning out there.
So, Lauren, as you know, we are the Dancing with the Stars station, right?
Right.
And so I broke out the paddle. I did step outside, and Todd Clausen, I'm giving it a 5.
Okay.
All right. That's not terrible.
We'll take it.
We're not dealing with any heavy rainfall, so that's good for your morning commute. We do have a little bit of mist out there, and obviously a lot of cloud cover, as you see here, looking across parts of downtown, and temperatures are currently sitting in the 40s. We're at 45 right now in Indy, 48 in Bloomington, and things will get better here throughout the day today. So we'll take Raphael's 5, and we'll probably get it up to about a 7 later on this afternoon, but it is going to be short-lived. That's a little bit of an unfortunate hint that's heading our way for the day tomorrow. So the last push of the moisture is kind of sliding through the area right now, and by moisture I mean that mist and the drizzle that is out there, and then the clouds will start to depart as we go throughout the morning hours as well. But more clouds will quickly come in later on tonight as a big storm system comes up from the south, so you need to take advantage of the mainly dry conditions here throughout the day today, and that brief window of some sunshine from about mid-morning to mid-afternoon before the clouds come back. As far as temperatures, 40s this morning, mid to upper 50s later on this afternoon, so it is a little bit warmer than it has been. We'll talk more about that heavy rainfall that will impact your morning commute for tomorrow coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's take a look right now at traffic up on I-69, a view here near Campus Parkway. No problems to slow you down in Hamilton County. If you're heading in from Madison County, it should be smooth sailing here along the interstate. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any delays this morning, though. We'll keep you updated on any trouble spots you need to avoid. At 5:03, a group in Noblesville is determined to let their city leaders know how they feel about proposed plans to put a gravel pit inside one of their parks.
Lauren, they're hoping to stop that project. This morning, WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us with their concerns. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rafael. So we are here at Potter's Bridge Park in Noblesville, where a company, Beaver Materials, wants to put a gravel pit here, and obviously some residents are concerned about that change. So take a look at this video. This is from last night as the dozens of people in downtown Noblesville, they're sending their message, which is loud and clear. They do not want the gravel pit in their neighborhood park. On the group's website, don'tleaveittobeaver.com, a play on the company's name, they list other options, health, safety, and ecological concerns, and Rachel Raymer is one of the many people involved in this charge.
There are 600 properties within a half-mile distance of this gravel pit, and economic impact studies show that it could negatively affect property values between 20 and 30%.
Now, we spoke to Allie Beaver, who's leading the proposed gravel pit, and she tells us they are doing everything by the book and eventually want to turn the gravel pit into a lake similar to the one Beaver Materials built at Ketowah years ago. Now, this issue won't go before Noblesville Common Council until December as a zoning change request. Now, the Common Council president tells us nothing about the plan has been presented to the council, and he's going to listen to both sides before that vote comes up in December. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. It's 5:04. Democracy 2020 now. Due to the unprecedented number of people early voting in Marion County, Clerk Mila Eldridge will extend early voting hours beginning today at the City County Building here in downtown. So today through Friday, you can vote early at the City County Building from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. That's 2 extra hours at the poll that they'll be open each day. On the weekends, the voting hours will run from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. That's 4 extra hours per weekend day. And then Monday, November 2nd. Voting hours will be from 8 a.m. until noon. Again, this is at the City County building right here in downtown Indy. Marion County's satellite voting locations will have normal hours.
And this morning we have more of our Democracy 2020 coverage. The candidates for governor took part in their final debate last night before Election Day. Incumbent Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, Democrat Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater discussed a wide range of issues. The pandemic was once again a main topic of discussion. When asked about whether the state should mandate a coronavirus vaccine once one is available, here's what each candidate had to say.
And a vaccine, even if it's been tested to be safe, will have possible side effects and risks, just like most other medicines do. And it must be a citizen's responsibility to determine what level of risk they're willing to take, what level of risk they are willing to put their children under, and government should not be involved in that decision. Thank you.
But I'm hopeful that when a Biden-Harris administration takes office and we have a new CDC and FDA director, that one will be forthcoming. I know that they'll look at the research and they'll follow the recommendations of the manufacturers and carefully look at any restrictions so that there may be some patients for whom the vaccine is inappropriate and therefore wouldn't be recommended.
Well, it shouldn't be mandated, but it should be encouraged when it's safe. And it will have to go through the proper approval from the federal government.
For a more in-depth recap of last night's debate, go to WRTV.com and click on this story.
The coronavirus cases in our state continue to rise. For a 6th straight day, health officials report more than 2,000 new cases of COVID-19. On Tuesday, 2,062 cases were reported. That brings the total amount of Hoosiers who have tested positive for the virus since the start of the pandemic to 166,564. So far, more than 2.7 million people here have been tested for the virus. And state health officials also report 51 additional Hoosier deaths from COVID-19. To date, 3,958 Hoosiers have died with the virus. We expect another update from state health officials later this afternoon.
From WRTV Investigates, state regulators have fined and cited 2 central Indiana nursing homes for serious workplace violations. The Indiana Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also known as IOSHA, fined Greenwood Healthcare Center $7,000. The fines stem from not doing medical evaluations on employees who were required to wear N95 respirators and for not creating an effective respiratory protection program for those workers. Now in Indianapolis, Wildwood Healthcare was also fined for similar violations. They're both operated by Communicare out of Ohio. Now, we reached out to the company to get a statement, and they responded by saying this: Greenwood and Wildwood Healthcare Centers believe the decision to issue these citations was made in a vacuum. The centers have prioritized worker and resident safety from the outset of the pandemic and continue to do so today. We have spent more than $4 million providing PPE and testing to our centers, in addition to what they were able to get from their regular supply chains. We will be contesting the charges and will work with IOSHA through their dispute resolution process to ensure a fair outcome. Lauren?
Raphael, it is 5:08, and 2 Indianapolis men are working to improve the area they grew up in by opening a grocery store. The Wall Street Market grocery store is located along East 38th Street near Emerson Avenue. And that neighborhood is one of the city's hardest hit food deserts, and that's why Michael McFarland and his business partner Marcus Williams were inspired to bring fresh food to their community. The store opened back on the 4th of July, and already McFarland says some of his shelves are empty, and it's thanks to a steady stream of customers. He says it's a clear sign how badly the area needed a grocery store.
People from the neighborhood, they love us. They love that we're from the neighborhood. They love that we're here helping and supporting them, giving them options, you know, so they don't have to go all the way across town just to get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk.
Well, the Wall Street Market is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m.
So Lauren, with more people working from home, like me, of course, advocates say now it's time to encourage more people to get really connected to technology. And that's why leaders in Indianapolis are trying to engage women in technology, especially minority women. NetLogix, a consulting services company that helps organizations manage change make change, of course, to promote and be diverse by design. The company's CEO, Audrey Taylor, says businesses should reflect society.
I think businesses need to look like the society we're part of. We know women make most of the financial decisions in our private lives. So recognizing that and that they're good managers of those kind of decisions, it seems silly to not allow them to make decisions in boardrooms and all the way down.
We have more information on how NetLogix can help you get involved in technology as well as careers on our website, WRTV.com.
So a fairly new but popular holiday tradition is not going to happen this year. Indianapolis Motor Speedway announced it will not host Lights at the Brickyard in 2020. Officials say they made this decision to allow for end-of-season testing and track maintenance. Lights at the Brickyard first started back in 2016. It's unclear if the display will return in 2021. And oh man, Todd, we like to look at the lights from our weather camera there on top of the pagoda. Won't be able to do that this year.
We always get the little early peek there, like looking in.
Yeah.
Great event, but hopefully I'll come back the following year. It would have been a good social distancing event too, since you stay in your car. All right, outside right now, as you get in your car and start your commute for this Wednesday morning, you're walking out to wet roads still. It still has that damp feel out there. Some of you will encounter a little bit of patchy drizzle. I had to put my windshield wipers on just a couple times on my way into work. Temperatures this morning are in the 40s. Heading home, it's drier. And in between the work hours, between when you go to work and come home, I do think there'll be some sunshine, but eventually the clouds are going to win out once again later on this evening. But overall, it's a drier day for us. But look at all this moisture, rain and snow down to our south. There's a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. That'll be lifting to the north, and that's all going to arrive late tonight and then into the day tomorrow. So this is your rainfall coverage for your Thursday, and it's pretty much a complete washout. Some of you could see 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Flood watches are posted across parts of the area as well. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Protests in the city of brotherly love. The police incident that has people in the streets for another night. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Tensions over police officers' use of force erupt again, this time out in Philadelphia.
And Lauren, protesters have been out on the streets since Monday after officers shot and killed a man holding a knife. Here are the details. Investigators say that Walter Wallace Jr. ignored orders to drop the weapon before officers fired the fatal shots. But the 27-year-old's parents say officers knew their son was in a mental health crisis because they had been to the family's home 3 times earlier that same day. Still, Wallace's father says he has faith in the system.
His wife told him he is manic, he's bipolar, he's in crisis. And unfortunately, the officers were not equipped with A, the training, or B, the proper equipment.
I believe in the justice system. We got good cops, and we also got bad cops. So we all got to be whole accountable for what we do in life.
The 2 officers involved in the shooting are now on desk duty. The protests remained mostly peaceful last night. State and city officials, they've requested assistance from the Pennsylvania National Guard, which is mobilizing several hundred members.
At 5:16, the Gulf Coast is once again bracing for a major storm. Zeta is expected to be the 3rd hurricane to hit the area this year. The storm made landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 1 hurricane Monday night, and then it weakened slightly to a tropical storm. But it is expected to strengthen back into a hurricane over the Gulf of Mexico before reaching the U.S. coast later today. Residents out in Louisiana say they're feeling overwhelmed.
We thought we was in the clear, and then this next one comes out of nowhere. Frustrating because damages from this one could be one thing, and then damages from another one is one thing, and you can't keep up, catch up with it.
It's crazy. I've never seen it like this before. With the pandemic, and now we got 6 or 7 storms that came up on us. It's crazy. Well, you can't stop Mother Nature.
Louisiana has been hit by 2 tropical storms and 2 hurricanes. Laura blamed for at least 27 Louisiana deaths after it struck in August, and Delta, which hit the same area just weeks later. Zeta is projected to make landfall again later today. So let's check in with Todd Clausen. Todd, I know you're monitoring that storm, plus our weather back here at home.
Yeah, you know, and eventually Zeta is going to kind of impact our area tomorrow. It's going to team up with an area of low pressure. The actual storm system, Zeta that is going to pass off to our south and east, and I'll show you that in just a second. But it's been dreary 24 hours across the area. We haven't had a lot of heavy rainfall, but we had that mist and a few showers yesterday. We get a little bit of a break here going forward throughout the day today. There is still some drizzle out there currently, but heavy rain tomorrow, and it turns very windy as well. So by far tomorrow is going to be the worst weather day that we've had this week. And of course, Monday we had rain. Yesterday was kind of dreary. So today, sandwich in between. While it's not going to be the brightest day from start to finish, at least it will be mainly dry once we get past the next couple hours. Temperatures in the 40s this morning. Anywhere you go, you need to have the jacket, because with clouds that are around and that drizzle that's out there and a bit of a north wind, it feels even cooler. So going forward throughout the day, we do get into some sunshine, I think, by about mid-morning. It lasts through about mid-afternoon, and then the clouds come back. So the middle half of your day is going to be the brightest part of your day, and then temperatures with the sunshine, they'll eventually get up into the mid-50s later on this afternoon. You see a little bit of rain on radar here still with the clouds on as well. With the satellite picture, you do notice them starting to break apart a bit now in the northern portions of the area. So this wave of moisture will slide off towards the east. We'll start to work some sunshine in later on this afternoon. Here is Zeta down to our south, and here's a lot of moisture with another area of low pressure across parts of Texas. Zeta is going to make its landfall here in Louisiana likely later on today, and then kind of curve towards the Smoky Mountains and eventually into North Carolina. But it is going to team up with the remnants of another area of low pressure off to our west and head in our direction starting late tonight. If you're out late tonight, and we're talking probably midnight onward, rain's going to develop first in southern locations, then it's going to spread to the north. And overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning's commute, the rain could be heavy at times in spots. Overall, throughout the day, the further south you are, the heavier the rain will be. The further north you are, while it will be steady at times, it'll taper off a little bit quicker for those of you in Lafayette as well as Peru. Here we are at 9:30, still raining pretty well in many areas. 1 o'clock still raining, and then eventually once we get towards the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, things will start to taper off just a little bit. Anywhere from Indy south, 1 to 2 inches of rain or more in some locations. You could see 3 inches. To the north, it tapers off to ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Still a good soaking, but not the flooding potential in northern locations that you will have if you do see 2 to 3 inches of rain. So that's why the National Weather Service already has this flood watch out for Bloomington over to Nashville, Columbus, Greensburg, Seymour, Bedford, and Points to the south. And of course, they could extend that further to the north depending on the exact track of that storm system. But once we get past tomorrow, we are in great shape for Halloween, for the start of November on Sunday, and then for Election Day as well on Tuesday, where we'll have mostly sunny skies right now and a temperature of 59 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. Taking you all the way out here to Greenfield. Good morning to you guys out in Hancock County. This is I-70 near State Road 9. You can see traffic in this spot is traveling up to speed. The orange barrels are pulled off into the shoulder of the road through this spot, so no major issues to slow you down here. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye for any delays, and we will keep you updated. Raphael?
So, Lauren, the pandemic is really prompting more of us to shop online, which means, unfortunately, that more people are being scammed online. The Better Business Bureau says that scams online are simply growing from year to year, and they're easier to fall for now than ever before. You see, John Edge was looking for some new tools when an ad popped up on an app. He paid $60 for a tool set that he thought was coming from a company in Indiana. After placing his order, he learned he had been scammed. The company's phone number is now disconnected, and the Lafayette address listed does not even exist. We reached out to the Better Business Bureau for advice on how to spot these scams before it's too late for you.
You want to do your research. It's always good to go to bbb.org. You want to make certain that you look at the website, look for things like misspellings, grammar that just doesn't sound right. Also, in the URL bar, you want to make certain that it has the letters HTTPS. S is the important letter there. You want to make sure that it has S on there. And many times it will also have the lock icon. It looks like a little padlock.
Good advice there, Tim Montescalo. Thank you. If you get scammed, the Better Business Bureau asks that you report it on the agency's Scam Tracker website. You can find a link to that by clicking on this story on our website, WRTV.com. So it was one of the symbols of the first weeks of the pandemic. And now this will be commemorated in a really unique way. Coming up, how one country, that's right, one country is paying homage to toilet paper. We're rolling on this Wednesday right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:26. Raphael, there's a new campaign that's paying tribute to the pandemic.
I'm not going to lie, I'm somewhat curious to see what this video looks like. I've not seen it yet, but Austria's Postal Service recently unveiled a new postage stamp featuring the illustration of the COVID-19 pathogen, and it's printed, Lauren, on toilet paper. So let's see this video.
Okay.
The stamp was inspired by the panic buying of the household item when COVID-19 hit. Now, each is the size and shape of a standard sheet of toilet paper and can be torn off the stamp block along a perforated line, just like the real thing. They've illustrated it with a baby elephant, the country's symbol that's being used to remind people to socially distance. The COVID stamps retail for about $3 US. Some of the proceeds will go to charity. So I'm glad to see that some of that's going to charity. That's a pretty big old stamp. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I'm just going to stick with the good old USA stamp.
Yeah.
That lasts forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained the elephant because I was confused what that was about, but
One
social
means go to the
distancing.
zoo.
There we go.
Yeah.
Go to the
Millimeters,
zoo,
centimeters, meters there. All in metric.
Yeah.
All right. Outside right now, we're dealing with some dreary conditions across the area with mostly cloudy skies. We'll thin the clouds out a little bit as the day goes on for some brief sunshine throughout the middle half of the day. But we're never completely getting rid of the clouds. But at least with the clouds thinning and some sunshine out there this afternoon, temperatures will be a little bit warmer, an opportunity to dry out. But heavy rainfall returns overnight tonight into your Thursday. More on that coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's very disheartening, as you can tell. I've stood in front of you several times, and we've talked about the conflict resolution thing.
A somber moment. Indianapolis marks its 200th homicide. Now at 5:30, the message from officers as they work to solve a record number of violent crimes.
And residents in Noblesville are fighting to keep a gravel pit out of their park. Working for you, their concerns about the project and why the company in charge believes it would be good for that community. At 5:31, thanks for joining our team here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen and Raphael Sanchez joining me this morning. Raphael, good morning to you down in our Johnson County studio.
Good morning to you, Lauren, from the official WRTV living room. And Lauren, as you know, I have plenty of time between commercials to work on projects. And this morning, a new billboard will be going up here in Franklin. Here it is. Can you read that, Lauren?
Todd, where is the sun? I support
this
that.
This billboard will be going up all over Johnson County today, Todd. Todd, where is it?
Well, you want my wise guy answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Below the horizon, it hasn't come up yet today. That's the current answer, but I know what you're getting at there, Raphael. Yeah, it's been hidden now for a couple days. You have to go back to Sunday that we had some sunshine across the area. Monday, that rain moved in. Yesterday, clouds, drizzle, and that continues here into your Wednesday morning commute. Not much of a view here throughout downtown or much of central Indiana, but that will be improving. 43 in Kokomo right now, 48 in Shelbyville. We have our last little wave of moisture that's moving through. That's why there's some drizzle. That's why there's some mist out there. That's why the roadways are still wet. So just give yourself a little bit of extra time out there as you start your morning commute. But we will start to dry out here this afternoon. It's short-lived, though. You look at all of this going on down to our south. Tropical system, a big area of low pressure with snow across parts of Texas. That's in play for us tomorrow. Not the snow, but the heavy rainfall. So mostly cloudy to start this morning, partly cloudy this afternoon, some sunshine, and then eventually temperatures into the mid-50s as the clouds win went out once again later on in the evening hours. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's take a look at traffic right now. As you're heading out on the roads, this is I-465 of you here near Arlington Avenue on the southeast side, where everything is picking up, but traveling up to speed right now. Not monitoring any major slowdowns for your commute, but that's something we'll continue to monitor throughout the morning. New from overnight, though, a man had to be rushed to the hospital following this fire on the city's east side. The fire started just before 11 o'clock last night along LaSalle Street near 10th and Rural. Firefighters say the fire may have started on a hot plate. The man is expected to survive his injuries. The duplex sustained nearly $75,000 worth of damage.
Lauren, the Circle City has now surpassed a grim milestone. A man found dead inside a vehicle on the city's west side has become the city's 200th homicide victim. Metro Police was called to Longview Lane just off of Tibbs around 7:30 Tuesday night on reports of a crash. They found a man inside the vehicle with injuries not consistent with a car crash. He died at the scene. Metro officers say they understand the community is frustrated with the increase in crime, but they say they're also frustrated as well.
We know the community is frustrated. We're frustrated with the community. We grieve with those families. Our officers, our homicide investigators, we grieve. They take that home every day. Our homicide investigators work daily, 24 hours, trying to get some of these crimes solved. It's, like I said before, it's very frustrating to our officers. You've heard me say it before. There's 2020. The year 2020 has been a challenging year.
Let's put these numbers in perspective. Of the 200 homicides in Indianapolis this year so far, 160 of them have been ruled intentional. If you have any information that could help solve any of these crimes, you're being asked to call Crime Stoppers. Remember, your call can remain anonymous.
At 5:35, the candidates for Indiana governor making that final push before Election Day. During last night's debate, incumbent Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, Democrat Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater discussed a wide range of issues. One question the candidates answered: what's the role of government to address and eliminate racial disparities?
We can also start being more aware of the disparities in regulations and laws that adversely affect minorities and minority opportunities. And most of these things, again, are government related, because when government oversteps its bounds, it usually does so in a way that adversely affects the minority community. And we can fix that by having a governor who is actually working on that himself.
We need bias training for all of our officers as a routine part of their training. We need oversight of that very small percentage of officers that don't follow policy, where accusations have been made. You know, the vast majority of our officers do exactly as they're supposed to, and they know that this small percentage is hurting the reputations of the profession. And yes, we do need decriminalization for simple possession, and we need to make sure that we legalize medical marijuana in the state and apply our laws fairly and equally.
I will appoint the first ever cabinet level chief officer of inclusion and opportunity and equity. The CEIOO, that's a mouthful, but they will be in charge of making sure that we remove any barriers, that we remove any hurdles and address those gaps. Economic empowerment will go a long way, but we need to be looking at housing, transportation, health outcomes, all the above, including our training, the ILEA, the way that we train our officers, and we will have body cams come next year.
For a more in-depth recap of this debate, you can download the WRTV mobile app and just click on the story.
The former yearbook advisor at Brown County High School has resigned. Dr. Greg Mosley's resignation comes after school officials found that he was responsible for a yearbook caption that referred to a student as black guy. Prior to Mosley's resignation, school officials said he had been removed as yearbook advisor. He was also suspended for 2 weeks without pay. The time now is 5:37. It's a fight to stop a gravel pit from moving in to Hamilton County, Lauren.
And WRTV's own Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with details on the opposition to that project. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So we're here this morning at Potters Bridge Park in Noblesville, where Beaver Materials is wanting to put a gravel pit here with the hopes of eventually turning it into a lake that the community can use. But as of right now, some citizens are concerned about that change. So take a look at this video. It's from last night as dozens of people in downtown Noblesville take to the streets to show their message that's loud and clear. They do not want the gravel pit in their neighborhood park. We spoke to Allie Beaver, who's leading the proposed gravel pit, and she tells us they are doing everything by the book and eventually want to turn the gravel pit into a lake similar to the one Beaver Materials built at Ketowah years ago.
I actually grew up down the street from the proposed location. That's where my parents still live today. I rode my bike on those paths daily. So I understand how important this trail is and how much it means to the city of Noblesville. As the city of Noblesville grows, the parks need to grow as well. And that's really what we're trying to do here.
So on the group's website, don'tleaveittobeaver.com, a play on the company's name, they list other options, health, safety, and ecological concerns, and you can find the link to their website to read more about that right now on the WRTV News app. Now, this issue will not go before the Noblesville Common Council until December. They say they have not gotten any official requests for it, but we did speak to the president of the Common Council, and he says he will hear from both sides, of course, before that vote happens in December. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:39. Let's turn now to the coronavirus pandemic and its continued impact on our state. This morning, the state health department reports 51 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. That's the highest number of daily deaths in a single report since May. Since the pandemic began, more than 3,900 Hoosiers have died with the virus. Health officials also report 2,062 new coronavirus cases. Since the pandemic began, nearly 167,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. A rise in COVID-19 cases is forcing the change of plans for some school systems. Pike Township schools announcing some students will return to virtual learning for at least part of their school week. Starting next Monday, all 3 of Pike Township's middle schools will revert to a hybrid schedule. Students will be in class 2 days a week and do virtual learning for the other 3 days. Spokesperson for the school district says the new schedule will be put in place until the positivity rate in Marion County starts to come down. We'll keep you posted. Here at 5:40, you may be heading out for your drive to work, maybe going somewhere this morning. Todd, what do people need to know?
Yeah, well, you definitely need the wipers at some point here throughout your morning commute, I think. There's a little bit of drizzle still, Lauren, and maybe a little bit of mist out there. But as the morning progresses, it's only briefly here this morning. Then you see the green throughout the afternoon and the evening. That's when you don't need to use your windshield wipers. And that's because we're finally going to start to briefly dry out as this moisture pushes off to our east. But there's a lot of rain and snow down to our south, and that is all heading our way. Temperatures will be above freezing tomorrow, so it'll be all rain, but it's going to be a lot of rain in spots. So for tomorrow, do you need to have your umbrella? And you will need to have it from start to finish throughout the day. The rain's probably heaviest throughout the morning and into the early afternoon hours. Then it'll start to taper off a little bit throughout the evening hours. But not only is tomorrow going to be wet, it's going to be very windy as well. Not a pleasant day, but once we get past tomorrow, I do think you're going to like the forecast heading into the weekend. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Wildfires continue to burn in California this morning. Still ahead, the latest on firefighters injured in that massive blaze.
The IndyCar season just wrapped up on Sunday, but drivers are not wasting any time preparing for the next year.
And let's take a live look outside right now. I-65, a view here near Lafayette Road. This is up on the northwest side, so if you're traveling through Marion County, maybe you're in Boone County, heading towards Indianapolis, and you're going here on the northwest side, you shouldn't have any problems. Everything's traveling up to speed. It's 5:42. We'll stick around. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. So Election Day is now just 6 days away. Both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are crisscrossing key battleground states in the home stretch of their campaigns.
This morning, ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reports on the final push to appeal to those voters.
Just 6 days to go in the battle for the presidency, the candidates now making a final push in the states that will determine the outcome of the race. Down in the polls and on defense, President Trump on Tuesday stumped in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, states he won in 2016.
Now I've got to say, I'm working my ass off here.
Trump expected to hit nearly a dozen states this week, with 11 rallies planned in the final 48 hours before Election Day. The president and First Lady Melania Trump on the campaign trail for the first time Tuesday, trying to appeal to suburban women who helped clinch a victory 4 years ago, but have been drifting away from Trump in recent polls.
You know what else? I'm also getting your husbands. They want to get back to work, right? They want to get back to work. We're getting your husbands back to work.
Trump's closing argument, don't worry about the pandemic. Despite the U.S. averaging more than 73,000 cases a day, the highest weekly average during any 7-day stretch yet.
We're rounding that beautiful turn, and it's going to be very good.
Joe Biden with the opposite message.
He said it's going to go away. We're learning to live with it. I told him we're not learning to live with it. You're asking people to learn to die with it, and it's wrong.
The former vice president trying to unify voters during a campaign stop in Georgia, a state no Democrat has won since Bill Clinton in 1992.
We win Georgia, we win everything.
In another attempt to expand the Electoral College map, Biden will visit Iowa this week. Also on his agenda are traditional swing states, including Florida, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Former President Barack Obama was on the trail for Biden again in Florida, where he didn't hold back in his attacks on President Trump.
What's his closing argument? That people are too focused on COVID. He said this at one of his rallies. COVID, 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 he's complaining. He's jealous of COVID's media coverage.
Biden will keep focus on the pandemic today with a speech on health care and COVID-19, while Trump is set to hold 2 rallies in Arizona. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
5 firefighters injured while taking on some major wildfires out in California. The firefighters were battling the Silverado fire near Irvine when they were injured. At last check, 2 were listed in critical condition at a local hospital there. The fire has forced 70,000 people and 150 zoo animals to evacuate. Firefighters say battling wildfires are tough, but the injuries, they add a new level of complexity.
It's tough for any firefighter, certainly any fire chief, to feel this helpless when you've got part of our fire family, again, fighting for their lives.
We had firefighters in our backyard starting at about 4 in the morning. So, you know, there's a concern, but I also felt very safe knowing that we have the best firefighters in the world.
The Silverado fire has burned more than 13,000 acres. At this point, it's only 5% contained. Here at home, our Todd Clausen is keeping an eye on the radar. And Todd, you were telling us that we were going to get a slight break from the rain today, right?
Yeah, you know, it's a little damp out there right now, Raphael, with some drizzle and some mist, but that'll be moving out shortly. That is the good news. And we will get a break here, and we'll even get some sunshine in, I think, later on this afternoon. Here's the view from downtown as you look from the Salesforce Tower on top of some of the other buildings across downtown Indianapolis. And a little while ago, you couldn't even see the buildings when that mist was moving through. So things are changing here as we go throughout the course of the morning. But you notice the humidity still 100%. The air completely saturated. 45 degrees is the current temperature in Indy, and everybody's in the 40s no matter where you are. 48 in Bloomington, 43 in Tipton, as well as Peru. Be patient here this morning for the clouds to thin out, but I think by about 10, 11 o'clock, we should be able to work some sunshine into the forecast, albeit briefly, because once we get to the afternoon hours, the clouds are going to increase out ahead of our next storm system. That'll be approaching from the south and southwest during the evening hours tonight. You notice temperatures will be a little bit warmer today as well as we get up into the mid-50s. Best chance of some of that patchy drizzle right now as you work your way over into the Muncie and Richmond area. That's the last hurrah. You notice it's starting to move out, and then to our west, skies starting already to clear just a little bit. Just be patient again, and things will improve here throughout the day today. You look to the south, here is Zeta, the tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of moisture here moving from Dallas up into parts of Oklahoma as well as Kansas. 2 areas of low pressure, the hurricane and that other one I just showed you, going to combine to an extent and start to bring us a lot of heavy rainfall late tonight and into the overnight hours. Here we are, 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. Heavy rainfall and steady rain moving into southern locations, a little lighter to the north. By 6, 7 o'clock, some decent rain across almost all of central Indiana. Your morning commute tomorrow is going to be a wet one. The windshield wipers are going to be going really, really quick. There'll be some pretty good puddles, I think, especially if you have storm drains in front of your house. Clear those out so you don't get a big lake in the street in front of your home, because this is going to be a good soaking. By afternoon, the heaviest of the rain is probably moving out, and then things will start to improve just a little bit. But this is going to be a good old-fashioned soaking for us and some flooding concerns. Here's our scale. We're between about 1/2 inch and 2.5 inches of rain with those heavier totals from Indianapolis to the south. You notice the rainfall totals drop off as you work your way to the north. But where we could see 1 to 3 inches of rain, the National Weather Service does have a flood watch out already, likely to have some flood warning. Storm Shield, a great tool to have. It'll alert you if any flood warnings get issued in your neighborhood. Not expecting severe weather tomorrow, but it also has a radar. So if you have errands to run, you can pull the radar up and see exactly where the rain is moving into your neighborhood. And it's free, as always, at the App Store and your Android store. Once we get past tomorrow, dry weather, that's the good news. 50 on Friday as we dry out. Halloween, 56 degrees. Monday and Tuesday in the 50s with lots of sunshine, which is good for Election Day. The one note I will put out there, though, look at the temperature on Monday morning. 27. That's in the city. Could even be cooler in the outlying areas. Lauren.
Ooh, all right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at your commute right now as you're traveling into work, taking you up here to Madison County, I-69. If you're here near State Road 38 and everything is moving along up to speed, traffic picking up just a bit there on I-69. We'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads this morning. Right now, no crashes, no delays around central Indiana to slow you down. Raphael?
Starting today, Indy cars will be back speeding around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as they start preparing for the 2021 Indy 500. Wow. Okay, IndyCar champion Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Joseph Newgarden, Pato Award, and reigning Indy 500 champ Takuma Sato will be testing today and tomorrow at the Brickyard. Newgarden and Sato test this afternoon from 11 to 6. All 6 drivers are scheduled to test Thursday from 10 to 6. You can watch for free from Turn 2 viewing mounts. However, you must wear a mask and practice social distancing. Keep that in mind. A construction company is celebrating its anniversary by bringing a video game favorite to life. How they built this giant Pac-Man maze right after the break.
Welcome back. So, Raphael, a construction company is taking a popular video game, Pac-Man, and bringing it into the real world.
I love this. Have you seen the video?
No.
I love this thing. So check this out, right? Caterpillar built this maze you see right there to celebrate the company's 95th anniversary. They made it in a field near the company's headquarters in Peoria, Illinois. Within several days, they dug the maze and added batters to complete the board. Check that out. To play, employees use remotes to control company equipment and go head-to-head. They also posted their games for you to watch on social media. I'm a huge Pac-Man fan. I love Centipede and Galaxia. I mean, I think I propped the arcade business back in the day, Todd Clausen. Me and my quarters. I know Lauren doesn't know what a quarter is, but a quarter's a coin, Lauren.
Hey, I know what you're talking about, Raphael. I got you.
I know.
I got you.
Thank you.
Hit
got
in the
my
arcade
back,
on a Friday night. You know, you go from Pac-Man over to a little skee ball. You got it.
Yeah.
So.
Look at us now on television.
And then then it was Donkey Kong, you know. So all right. Outside right now, we're still dealing with a little bit of patchy drizzle and some mist. It's on its way out of the area, though, off towards the east, and we'll actually start to thin these clouds out. Temperatures are in the 70s, as you see on either side of me. So we got rid of that morning mist, and we do develop some sunshine, though, throughout the course of the late morning, early afternoon hours. It's brief, but it will be a brighter day for us. And once we get past this mist this morning, it's mainly dry with temperatures in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, a very, very wet day for us. The latest on that and your news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here at 6 o'clock.